Well, hello everybody, welcome back to 2CTV. Let's talk about Greta Thunberg. Let's talk about the climate eco-militant activists and the court case in London. Yes, the Westminster Magistrates Court obviously have been dealing with this case over the last few months following Greta Thunberg's arrest in London at one of the protests, and she was not listening to the police. The Metropolitan Police were trying to remove them from that area, and of course they refused to listen to it, and they got arrested. Somehow, the court and the judge at the Magistrates Court in Westminster decided to throw out the case. Now, in this video, we're going to give you guys the details and obviously the statement from the judge, as well as my reaction. And of course, it's a live stream, so your reaction. Let's get on with the show. Alright, the queen of watermelons. Watermelons because they're green on the outside and communist red on the inside, was arrested obviously a few months back in London. And she does love being arrested because that's the time when she could get a lot of media attention, obviously. And but she always gets away with it, which is absolutely fascinating. The case has been thrown out, if only in defense of the court, in defense of the Metropolitan Police, in defense of the country. If only she was sitting down and having breakfast instead. If she was having breakfast instead, she would have been arrested and she would have actually been banned from London, right? That's usually what happens now. Tommy Robinson was having breakfast and is now banned from even coming to London. Greta Thunberg didn't have breakfast. Her case has been thrown out. So, Greta, next time, be more like Tommy, have breakfast. Anyway, absolute chaos as usual. We had the judge responding to this case, saying it is quite striking to me that no witness statements were taken from anyone in the hotel, approximately 1,000 people, or from anyone trying to get in. There was no evidence of vehicles being impeded, interference with emergency services, or risk to life. So, if we take this face value, something went wrong while the arrest was being taken place. So, do we blame the justice system, or do we blame the policing and following the arrest? No witness statements, despite the fact that there were about 1,000 people there. Who messed up? But I personally think primarily the Metropolitan Police. Why did they mess up? Did someone tell them to mess up? So this is the question. But it's happened now. She's now free. She can do whatever she wants. As usual, she gets away with it. I mean, she's not banned from London, unlike Tommy. We also have, obviously, this statement from her lawyer. He looks very smug in this photo, obviously. Let's go to, Greta's statement as well as the lawyer himself.
Even though we are the ones standing here and climate, environmental and human rights activists all over the world are being prosecuted, sometimes convicted and given legal penalties for acting in line with science, we must remember who the real enemy is. What are we defending? Who are our laws meant to protect? These corporations are destroying and destabilizing the climate and the biosphere and the very living conditions we humans depend on to survive. They have displaced and destroyed countless people's lives and livelihoods.
The charges against them were rightly dismissed. The conditions imposed on the protest were unclear, uncertain, and unlawful. They were unlawful because they disproportionately interfered with our clients' right to free speech. The government should stop prosecuting peaceful protesters and instead find ways to tackle the climate crisis.
Right to free speech. Okay. The problem with the justice system is that it doesn't go with common sense. It goes with the bureaucratic rule of law, right? If they go with common sense, they know that the whole point of the arrest was because she wasn't listening to the police and she refused, essentially, to follow. And that's quite clear. But the rules were unclear, as the lawyer says. So technically speaking, not to defend the justice system or the lawyer, they got away with it because they found the loophole, and it goes back to the Metropolitan Police. How many times do we have to criticize them? on these sort of very basic stuff. So that's what happened now. They're saying they found the loophole, and now they're coming out this claim. Well, it's freedom of speech. There's nothing wrong. Well, yeah, no one is saying there's anything wrong with protest. You can protest if you want, but disruptions and refusing to listen to the police, that is a problem. If I do that, I was at the protest earlier, the pro-Islamist protest. Even if I were to do something as a mistake, and the police were telling me to do something, if I say no, I will be in trouble. I will be banned from London like Tommy. But of course, these lawyers, they always find the loopholes, and then now they come out, take the moral high ground. And today, we had Greta Thunberg's friends dominating the Islamist protests in central London. You remember this? This banner was from earlier today. Climate activists for a free Palestine. Are you kidding me with this? So, not only that it's not even related to the situation in the Middle East, these people are very much supporters of Gaza, the West Bank, and all these people, right? Gaza, as far as I know, Gaza and the West Bank specifically, they're not a beacon of net zero. They do not have a net zero program. They're not really the champions of the climate action that Greta and her friends are really loving. So why not Greta and all these guys get on a plane, go to the West Bank and protest there and introduce their leadership in those places to your net zero utopia? Of course you're not going to do that. Instead, Greta Thunberg came to court again with a Palestinian flag and everything else because they're related issues, right? No, it's not. It's only related because, as I kept saying, these people are watermelons, green on the outside, but communist red on the inside. It's always about the deeper ideology. They don't care about the environment. If they care about the environment, they would actually focus on the science of it. But of course they don't. They would actually come up with sensible policies to promote clean air and clean water. They don't do that, do they? They want to just stop oil. We are where we are with these idiots anyway. Let's go to the live chat, get some of your reaction while we are here. The Top Cat says, yes, Greta, go to Gaza. Exactly. Do that. I'll pay for the plane. Flight. Actually, she doesn't fly, does she? Super chat from Chloe from Australia. Thank you so much, Chloe. Off topic. I gave you some dollars so you can upgrade your mobile network provider, hopefully for better live streams at those danger marches. I am afraid we have a deeper problem in the United Kingdom because our government is simply incompetent when it comes to mobile networks and the infrastructure. We still have towns and villages with no internet, very, very slow broadband internet, Wi-Fi. This is basically getting, in terms of infrastructure, this country is a little bit more backwards. So it doesn't really matter if you change the network in terms of your mobile network. You will still face problems in central London with big crowds. So, but thank you so much, Chloe. Anyway, Barry Cullen says, Maya, we blame both. I'm assuming Barry's talking about the justice system and the policing. Yes, I agree. Gumba says, why does the world pay her so much attention? She knows less than nothing about science or climate because she's a puppet. She's just a talking head. And the reason that she was then alienated by the World Economic Forum and COP28, I think it was the last one, COP28, was because the people who created her, the Frankensteins who created the Frankenstein monster, have now lost control over her. As she grew up, she's become a completely chaotic drama queen. So she still has her handlers, but it's not really anymore, the world powers, the presidents and prime ministers. You remember when she came to the House of Commons in Parliament, and you had Ed Miliband and Michael Gove clapping like penguins? It's such a weird situation. This was back in the day when she was a teenager. Now she can't be controlled anymore. So presidents and prime ministers have been told to stay away from her, which is really funny. Chloe again saying, also that man and woman who confronted you with the Hamas figures. Yes, I bet they can't wait for Sharia or never read Quran and the Hadiths. Yeah, exactly. They're in for a surprise. They do it again and I give you more dollars. Thank you so much. Although again, when it comes to people like those two earlier today, oh, what happened here? There we go. With those two I talked to, some people said, well, these people need to be destroyed. No, not really. I mean, my policy when it comes to free speech or debate on my channel, even if they want to come on the channel as they did earlier today, let them talk, let them say whatever they want. I'm not there to do any confrontation. They're not in charge. If I were to speak to one of the leaders or the organizers of the protest, obviously they have to answer some serious questions. If I were to talk to someone who was inciting violence, I would completely shut them down, as I have always done it. But those two, they were just talking nonsense. I just let them talk. And I was surrounded by a lot of angry people. And I knew that if I were to hit back faster, harder, I will be in a lot of trouble. So I just let them talk. Obviously, I still chose to expose the idiocy when they said the United Nations figures. I'm like, well, I don't trust the United Nations figures. Your figures come from the health minister in Gaza, you idiots. But they didn't really listen. And to be fair, one point when I kind of explained South Africa, people in South Africa are different to the ANC and the government, she was like, oh yeah, fair enough. Oh, the education system in this country, absolute chaotic. Anyway, let's go back. Freedom of speech cannot interfere with our daily lives, like blocking streets, intersections, roads, and disturbing civic events. Exactly. There is a point about right to free speech, but also right to protest. And we, whether you like it or not, we have a rule-based society. So you protest within the rules. Obviously, if you go beyond that, you have to be arrested like Greta did. The problem is, even when you get arrested, if you're Greta Thunberg, you will get away with it. But if you're Tommy Robinson having breakfast in the morning, you will be banned from the city. There's a bit of double standards, obviously. And he tried to do the appeal, obviously, as we reported outside the Magistrates Court in Westminster for you guys a couple of months back. The United Nations is driving the world's mass immigration. We cannot believe a single word those crazy bastards say. Absolutely agree. Jane says they are all haram. Because without knowing what Islam is really, they decide to do whatever they want and choose. Barbarians in 2024. It was fascinating because people like Greta Thunberg, they are professional protesters, professional activists. But the two people I spoke to earlier at the protest, they're just completely clueless. And I have nothing against them. It's not my job to slam them because they're just ordinary people who they think they have well intentions. Like they think they're just there to protest in defense of ordinary civilians in Gaza, but they don't know who they're surrounded with. That's the issue. They're being brainwashed. They're being like sheep, but you can't really attack them because they haven't done anything wrong unless they incite violence. The problem we have is that when I pointed out at the protest saying, yeah, but I can imagine you're basically liberal, but the pride flag, LGBT flag, every time they come to these protests, the Islamist side always have a fight with them and take them away. And they were like, no, that hasn't happened. We haven't seen it. Where do you find the evidence? Like, just Google it. Every Saturday it happens. But, it's free speech, I guess. John says, what about Tommy Robinson's right to free speech? Doesn't count, does it? Greta Thunberg is middle class and funded by the likes of organizations like the Open Society and George Soros and all those guys. She's protected, She can have breakfast in the morning without getting arrested. Barry says, might you be able to do a quick video on that American skit of being Hamas PR, please? I think we all need a chuckle after today's event. Is it not the one I already posted yesterday, 2 days ago? We did post, unless there's a new one. I've already posted a video of that a couple of days back, unless there's a new one. If it's a new one I've missed, feel free to send me an email. I think you guys already have emailed me. I think I got some message about that. I'll have a check. We do like satire and comedy on this channel, obviously. Martin says, that couple telling you to provide evidence for your information, but where did they get their info for 40% children? Yes, well, they said the United Nations, and they said, well, I don't trust the UN stats. And also, there was a point when I was trying to be nice. Obviously, they're just innocent weirdos. She was saying that 40% of people in Gaza are children, and 40% of them basically lost their lives. She stopped there, the sentence, because she realized if she continued, it would imply she's saying that's 100% of children. No, 40% of 40% is not 100%. I mean, I'm very worried about the education system at this point and the future generations. Oh dear. It's funny, isn't it? Steve says, when you can't afford an army and keep control through religion, only jihad will do to protect your soil. And also, when you see what happened today, and again, you had the climate, and let me just put it on again for you guys in case you missed it. Look at these idiots. Climate activists for free Palestine. They don't even know what a Palestine is, by the way. They were funny because the issue with this is that these are the professional protesters. These are the organizations. Then a lot of people who are at these marches, they're just random people. They think they're there to protect or fight for innocent people. These are the same people, by the way, who didn't really come out after the 7th of October when the Israelis were targeted, by the way. But, anyway, they think they're coming to protect the children in Gaza. The problem we have is that these gatherings are filled with hateful people and people who have no respect for our culture and our identity and our nation in general. And when you see the cenotaph and the statues around the area when I was showing you guys today being completely guarded by the police, are you surprised? When you refuse to protect your borders, you're going to have to protect your statues and your monuments and the cenotaph. But if you were to protect the borders in the first place, you wouldn't have to deal with all that nonsense. But apparently what I'm saying is controversial. About what that lady was saying, firstly, I'm spreading lies. And I said, what lies? She couldn't really explain which lies, but... Ultra 505, free Maya Tusi. Yes, from the river to the sea. Tusi TV will be free. Barra said you let them off too easy. Exactly. It's not, again, a lot of people were expecting me to have a big fight. No, that's not what we do. If I were debating, as I say, if I were having an argument with the organizers or the leaders or one of the Islamists who was actually inciting violence, not only I'll be harsh if they say something wrong, I have to report them to the police. But these are ordinary people, and then they're just misguided, they're naive, and they've been brainwashed by the idiots. And the best thing you can do, let them talk. They will keep digging and digging, as they did earlier today. They will be their own downfall. As the woman who was talking about South Africa, and I said, well, South African people are different to the ANC government. She was like, oh yeah, fair. So it's not, it might make you feel good. And this is a problem with social media, by the way, the new media and social media. Everybody wants to destroy the other side, right? And it will make you feel better for about 30 seconds. Yeah, that felt good. You just literally attack a random person. If they had the position of power, if I were to deal with an MP or leaders of one of these groups and organizations, well, that would be a whole different thing because they have a whole position of power. But random innocent citizens who are just going to this idiotic protest thinking that they're there to defend ordinary civilians in Gaza. I'm not there to confront them or annoy them because then I'll be as bad as them. The best thing you can do, as I said, give them a platform, give them a microphone, let them talk. They will go around the loop and they will expose themselves as it happened earlier today. Just another George Soros stunt. Yeah, this whole court case was completely chaotic anyway. We have Bex saying perhaps Greta should go and have a word with Hamas about the amount of fuel they were using and stealing. Yeah, as I said, these are the climate activists who are the supporters of Gaza and West Bank. They have no idea, absolutely have no idea that these places are not the beacons of net zero. They have no respect for the environment. It's the illusion of underdog versus the oppressor. That's the whole point. And it goes back to Karl Marx and that ideology. And of course, when you combine Karl Marx and Nietzsche, chaos happens. Well, National Socialism in Germany happens. Aaron Bacon, thank you so much for your super chat. Suggest that you interview Anne-Marie Walters, UKIP, as GB News is interfering with the UKIP leadership elections. Nigel Farage did this before to destroy the party. I didn't know about the GB News trying to interfere or whatever they're doing. I'm gonna guess Anne-Marie, if she's actually running, she's gonna win because Lois Perry is running, and I know Lois. I don't know. For UKIP, although UKIP is a very small party at this point anyway, but it doesn't really matter. You still have to have people who, with any political party, even the left-wing small parties, I don't care. You need competent people. We'll find out what happens. And obviously, if Anne-Marie or her team are watching, feel free to get in touch and come on the channel. We've had obviously leaders of SDP and the other smaller parties as well on the channel in the past. Chloe, I have unsubscribed from many British YouTubers, but you still give me hope and make me laugh, whereas others make me angry or sad for the UK. Free traffic and roads. Well, good. I guess. Thank you very much, Chloe. I make you laugh. It's public service, I guess. The thing is, if you don't laugh during these dark times, it will be just too depressing and too sad. You have to. That's what the Brits did in the 40s, in the 30s and 40s against the Germans. And that's what the Israelis are doing, obviously against the Islamists. Anyway. Leslie Manning. Greta is a poor, misinformed young lady. She has been duped by all the left-wingers. The thing is, we could have said that a few years back about Greta Thunberg when she was younger, when she was being brainwashed. But at this point, she's an adult. She's done her research, the wrong research, and she has conviction. That's not a good thing, by the way. And you can no longer call her misinformed. I mean, she's by definition is misinformed, but she's not naive anymore. It's different to, as we discussed, the two people that I interviewed earlier today. They were just random citizens, civilians, who just went to central London to protest, and they are just naive. And the best thing you can do, instead of hitting back or attacking them, just let them talk. It's different to people who actually know their stuff. Greta Thunberg is basically a leader. But I mean, she's a puppet, but she's seen as their leadership role in terms of position of power. If you're debating against someone with the position of power, responsibility, you destroy them. You hold them to account. But with everybody else, just let them talk. Because they're just naive. It's not really your job to go and randomly attack civilians. And by using the word civilian in a very literal way, not in terms of citizens. It's the same concept that the mafia had in New York and New Jersey. Do not target civilians. Barry says reform needs to get rid of Richard Tice. He is messing up, and if they need to succeed, putting in Mr. Farage. If that fails, make Meyer mayor, even though he doesn't want it. Exactly. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing politics. I am not your political activist or doing frontline politics or anytime soon. Basically, it's the same argument when it comes to 2CTV as a media platform, a new media platform. I have my opinions. I express my opinions, obviously after giving the facts about everything, but it's not my job to organize protests or political parties or my job to go and destroy people. That's the job of political activists, not me. My job is to just give platform to people, let them talk, and report the news. Anyway, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Greta Thunberg is once again free, surprise, surprise, and 2CTV will be free. I'm Maya Tusi, and we are the media.